Are we on?
Yeah, it didn't start the intro though.
That's weird. Well,
It is weird.
hello.
Welcome to the Here We Go podcast, where the intros don't work and we're here to fuck around, apparently. So, Colin obviously is not with us tonight, but we have Bob Quinn joining us from Steelers Sanctuary. Bob, how you doing today?
I'm doing much better. I couldn't join the Steelers Sanctuary podcast last night. I had a work function, i.e., the Steelers got embarrassed so badly, I just had to hide in a hole for a day.
It's totally understandable. I think most of Steelers Nation was hiding in a hole on Monday, so here we are. Well, the good news is you get a chance to get it all out of your system today. So I'm going to start off today with something that just kind of popped up, actually, when I was going through X. Jair Alexander is stepping away, so does not even play a single snap for the Eagles after they make the acquisition at the trade deadline. Did you see this yet?
No. Did they, for like stepping away from the team permanently, or is it like a personal thing?
He basically saying that he wants to get himself together physically and mentally before he returns to football. And it sounds as though this is a should I retire type of discussion that he's having with himself, which I found very interesting.
He's still a young enough guy where I'm a little bit surprised by that, but he hadn't played real well the last couple of years, and I know he had some discipline issues in Green Bay that kind of got him up out of there. If it is like maybe potentially a mental health issue and he's recognized it and he wants to step back and get treatment, okay, good for him. And hopefully he gets better and gets back on the field soon. I don't know how much the Eagles really needed him. I think they were taking a shot in the dark that, hey, maybe this guy has some good football and he's pissed off somebody in Baltimore and he's buried on the bench. But, he's a young enough guy where obviously if he just set out the rest of the season and maybe the offseason gets it together, who knows? Maybe he could come back. But
strange nonetheless. I mean, the trade acquisition's already done. The compensation's moved. This comes out of left field, which is really weird.
Yeah, isn't there a rule that if the guy doesn't play, like if it's a medical thing, and I know they consider the mental health medical, there's a way to unwind it from the Eagles end. I don't know if they would do it if they want to keep him long term, but
right. I don't know if that's in there or not, to be honest with you, but interesting to see. Just kind of a wild thing. It took me back. I literally just saw it like half an hour ago. Weird news either way.
It's one of those things too where you look at it. Guy had so much potential and played really well at first. And we all thought, hey, at the beginning over the summer, hey, maybe this is the guy the Steelers should go get. But ultimately now didn't really do much for Baltimore. Frankly, you can't crack that secondary. You're not very good anyway. And goes to the Eagles. And I'm not surprised he couldn't get playing time. I am surprised he's stepping away from football, though.
Yeah. Just kind of a weird, interesting story. From the Steelers' end, Asaunte Samuel Jr. now signed to the practice squad. What did you think about this move?
Surprised. Happily surprised. I was not a huge proponent of bringing him in, but trade deadline kind of came and went. Keeping Jalen Ramsey at safety is hugely important for the rest of the year, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I kind of like this idea. I mean, I heard some floating around with Starkey and some other people. Hey, or not Starkey because it happened after, like on the Pony Show. Oh, did Omar redeem himself with this move? I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't think he really needed redemption, but it's interesting that when the defense needs help, they find somebody. When the offense needs help, they cover their eyes.
Yeah, for sure. Because we'll get to MVS later, but he was not what we needed at the wide receiver position. But Asaunte Samuel Jr. is young. You hope that he is actually fully recovered from the spinal surgery he has, the spinal fusion or whatever they called it. He was a second-round pick. So There's Dave Hardy kicking in there.
Did I mention that Kevin Colbert sucks?
Yes, let's get those all out there when Dave's not here to defend himself. I love it.
Absolutely.
I
will say I'm trending towards maybe thinking Jackson Dart was one of the best running backs that came out in the previous draft.
Second, maybe to Cam Scattaboo, since he had a great first season.
We'll see how O'Marion does when he comes back next week.
Yes. I mean, Richard, from your standpoint, man, I don't know if I don't know if we're missing it. Honestly, they're letting Jalen play closer to the ball than Minka was. So schematically, at least he wasn't able to do anything here. I never blamed Minka for anything that was kind of put on him from a lot of the fan base, but Jalen, they're not playing him 30 yards deep like they did with Minka. So schematically, they have made a change. And I mean, Juan Thornhill's gone. So the Asaunte Samuel move ends up kind of bring in extra cornerback depth because we know Jalen Ramsey is staying at safety. Mike Tomlin, said in his press conference, it looks like he's going to be a safety for the foreseeable future. The preseason darling Sebastian Castro comes in to give some added safety depth, and he actually plays special teams.
One of my favorite guys. Yeah, one of my favorite guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, if you look at the safety room, Jalen Ramsey and Minka, you could probably call it a wash. I mean, I love Minka Fitzpatrick, but with the way they utilized him, I don't think he was really utilized as the kind of guy that he really should be. I mean, they weren't letting him be a playmaker. He was a safety valve.
Well, let me ask you a question, though, because it's basically the same defense.
Yeah.
So Jalen is playing up and has the confidence that he'll get back if he needs to get back. Is it – and to make his credit, and I was hard on him the last couple of years, mostly because we were paying him a lot of money to basically do fucking nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we blamed it on the scheme. But I wonder how much of it was he gave up so much of his body in 19, 20, 21, and sort of into 22 when he really started to show the wear and tear. He had the great game against the Bengals and then really fell off of a cliff. So I wonder how much of it is I turned my 29-year-old body into a 35-year-old body, but Jalen has the confidence to walk up. I don't think anybody was telling Minka, you can't walk up. You can't get in the box. I just think he maybe got to the point where he didn't have the confidence he could athletically do that anymore. I don't think we're seeing that from him in Miami.
Yeah. I don't know. It's because he really hasn't done much in Miami. He's had some nice games tackling, but he was always a great tackler.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's clarifying. Maybe he's clarifying with us here.
Got to admit, Jalen is a better tackler than Minka.
Oh, Jalen's a phenomenal tackler. I don't know if I agree with this. I don't think the issue is that he can't play corner anymore. In the slot, he was playing fine. I mean, he was good enough. He's not an outside corner anymore.
He's still a top 35-ish corner. But already, I think he's a top 5 safety. So
he's played really well at safety so far.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he played during college. I mean, this guy's always been versatile. It's just, and let's face it, he's been in the league a long time. I mean, he was a star on the Jaguars team that went to the AFC Championship game that beat us was up 28-0 on us till it turned 48-5-42. He's a really good player. And I think I think he wants to have the Charles Woodson type career where he plays safety for 10 years now.
He should. I mean, he clearly is capable, and it can definitely prolong his career. He could possibly get another payday moving to safety. It won't be the same as corner, but his contract at corner right now versus his contract potential at safety right now, he might make more money at safety, oddly enough, which is kind of backwards to say, but
yeah,
if he keeps playing the way he is, it's very possible he gets a bigger contract playing safety for sure.
Well, I think he's making like 23, 25, somewhere in that neighborhood right now.
Hmm.
He's got, I think, a year left on the deal. So, like Richard was asking, explain the logic of the Minka trade. Look, John had the thought behind it was you're getting two Pro Bowl All Pro players for one fringe All Pro Bowl player at this point in their career. And look, I think you've upgraded as far as from a safety prospect with Ramsey. I think they were hoping that would last until next year, but the safety room fell apart. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't think they anticipated Johnny would be this bad.
No. And I get that they moved him to safety and brought in a corner, but I think it says more about the way Darius Slay's played. I
Yeah.
mean, we were supposed to go man across the board,
Mm-hmm.
and Slay cannot play man to man, and Ramsey still can. I don't think he's been that bad. I mean, he got beat on one deep ball really to Jackson Smith and Jigba, who, in case you haven't noticed, he might shatter some records this year.
Yeah.
Like he's on a ridiculous pace. And Jamar Chase, who just won the Triple Crown last year. So, like, if we're really going to compare a guy having bad games against those two guys, like, you might want to check the rest of the NFL because none of them are covering these guys either.
And look, he had T. Higgins covered one-on-one. He was right there in his pocket. T. Higgins made a good play. It was a physical play. He was right there to tackle him. Higgins made a nice catch. I know what are you going to do? I know Dave blames him every time, for those deep crossers early in the season, but I think we pretty effectively showed that's not on the corner. If the defense can't get home, there's nobody in the league who can stop a deep cross.
Yeah. And Shower, just to answer this, we probably had a good idea of where he was at because his doctor was the Pittsburgh Steelers doctor.
Yeah.
He performed the surgery. So we probably had a pretty good idea of what his physical shape was looking like.
And not to mention, he's at the point where somebody was going to sign him in the next week.
Yes.
So us taking the flyer, we didn't pay him a lot of money. So
no. And you send him to the practice squad right now. So it can't be a big contract if he's at the practice squad. So he's probably going to get called up, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I will tell you this. Bryant McFadden was on texting Pony. He makes regular appearances on the show on Fridays, and they do a podcast together. And he was over the moon about the signing. He said the guy's an absolute dog. He's, this is the kind of move that's going to pay dividends in December, not November, assuming we're still in the race in December. But
yes.
But that being said, look, like you said, he's a young guy. If this works, it works. If it doesn't, big fucking deal. You kept him out of the hands of, probably Baltimore, who would have rolled.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this dude's loving the Tomlin hate right now, and there's a lot of chatter going on about Tomlin. Anyway, we addressed some of this last night.
Rich Eisen, man. Rich Eisen is the biggest Tomlin supporter I can think of. No, I take that back. Jay Glazer is the biggest. But when Eisen goes on his show and says, look, I get it. It's time to figure something out because this ain't working.
Yeah.
And, of course, he threw in the caveat immediately. Tomlin will coach in the league as long as he wants to. But, I thought Starkey, who really hit this hard on his show today, did a good job of breaking this down, and I 1,000,000% agree with this. Tomlin has ultimate job security in Pittsburgh. He has a bad year, an average year, gets blown out in the playoffs. There appears to be a who gives a fuck attitude in ownership. You go to the Giants, and yes, they'd be happy going to the playoffs, but you go to the playoffs 2 or 3 years in a row, and you get what we've gotten the last 10 years. Nah. 9-8, 10-7, and a blowout playoff loss. He'll be out of the league in 3 years.
Yeah. Our organization's loyalty is way above and beyond, especially with him. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't understand. This guy hasn't won anything in forever at this point. And I mean, like literally forever in sports terms. And we keep riding with him. So the messaging, they call him this master motivator. It just doesn't show up on game day a lot of times. Like it just doesn't. Like he gives these great analogies and He's so well spoken and everything sounds all great, but like when it comes to in-game strategy, he sucks. He's scared to death. For a guy who preaches about living in your fears, I've never seen a guy live inside of his fears more than Mike Tomlin does. And I don't understand why in the world, when he has 2 Super Bowls, but really one of them was Cowher's entire staff and team.
Mm-hmm. The one he won.
Yes. That's not a guy that you hang on to forever. I mean, look what Philadelphia has done. I mean, Andy Reid, gone. They win with Doug Peterson, gone. Like Sirianni, and like even he was on the hot seat and he was winning. They're in first place in the division, and he was on the hot seat at times. Like, why is our organization so hell-bent on mediocrity that we can't even fathom the thought of putting Mike Tomlin on the hot seat?
I've said this before, and I'm going to repeat it again. There is a commitment to keep him and get him to pass Knowles' regular season wins. He's got 188. Knowles got 193. I don't know if he can get there this year, but I hope he does. I think they can. But I'm telling you right now, I think they want him to winningest coach in Steelers history. Even though he didn't win, he's not Chuck Noll. He's never going to be Chuck Noll. He's never going to have that success in the playoffs. But I think they want him to get that record. If he could get at 188 wins, and he probably can, even if the team's bad, this year, next year, he gets 12 wins, gets to 200 wins, and he walks right out the door and retires. I mean, there is an interesting stat for Steelers head coaches. No Steelers head coach has ever been hired as the head coach of another team. You coach here, that's it. Now, for Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and probably Mike Tomlin, well, you had a nice long run of success. You had some championships and all that good stuff. But thinking back to the first 50-plus years of this franchise, and a lot of bad head coaches. Now, there were head coaches who got hired to coach the Steelers again, but not anywhere else. Mm-hmm. The only guy who's ever coached was on Lombardi's staff. The guy's name escapes me momentarily, but he filled in as an interim when Vince Lombardi got cancer with the Redskins. And that's it. And he only coached one game as the interim coach. So that's the only Steelers head coach. He wasn't hired to do it. He was just the interim head coach because of Lombardi's cancer. So I don't think it's a slam dunk like everybody says that Tomlin will go somewhere else. And even if he does, he's not going to last unless he radically changes.
Yeah, which we know he ain't doing that. This is interesting.
Team performance does not impact revenue. Share broadcast.
How do you feel about this point? The NFL is very money driven, so I mean, I get where he's coming from on this.
The Steelers are probably worth $6-7 billion. I know the recent valuation had them at $4 billion. They hit the market. I would be shocked if they go for much less than what the Lakers went for. I think they went for $10 billion. So I don't agree with this because there's a floor in the NFL which makes teams have to spend money. You have to try really hard in the NFL to be bad for an extended period of time. And Cleveland, you're doing a fine job. But that being said, no, I don't necessarily think this. I do think there's a malaise. I don't think Art Rooney gives a crap as long as, hey, we're competitive in December. That's probably the only time he pays attention. Christmas time with the relatives, they show up for their checks and presents. And, hey, man, what the fuck? Hey, what are you talking about? We could make the playoffs. And that's probably all he cares about.
Yeah. I think this might be exactly why it wouldn't matter if we're a winning or losing franchise. Our fan base is going to show up no matter what.
Yeah, look.
We are very similar to Cleveland in that way. If we had a shit team, we're still going to show up to the stadium. Yeah, like our fan bases are both very loyal.
Yeah, and Cleveland fans, I'm sorry. It's not you, it's them. But
It's
but for us, yeah, we'll show up and boo the crap out of it till it changes. But I think the fans contribute a lot more than 15 to 20%. I do think there's TV money that's huge, but
yeah.
I also think with collective bargaining, because they have that floor, it's like I said, it's really hard to be consistently long term bad. Eventually, and if you do suck for 2 or 3 years, you're probably going to get good by accident because unless you're some of these inept teams, you're going to end up lucking into a quarterback and some players and all that good stuff. I do think I want to say one thing. I do think we fool ourselves about how good our roster was and is. We have a lot of top heavy names, but overall, the depth of the roster, we couldn't afford to lose a guard. We couldn't afford their injuries to the safety room. And, the general manager sucks. He didn't bring this up. He didn't get us a wide receiver, too. Do we really think that Omar Khan doesn't realize that they need a wide receiver, too? Do we really think he sits around and goes, you know what? We're good. I think the coaching staff thinks that, but I don't think Omar thinks that. And ultimately, if the resources are going to be spent to go get Mike Tomlin another piece for the defense because that's what he demands, and if there is the power dynamic where he's still on top, ultimately Omar's got to do what the boss says. And if Mike Tomlin's the boss, who has no accountability as the boss, what's Omar supposed to do?
Yeah, I also think Omar's taken some really big swings and he's missing. I mean, the Ayuk thing, we saw that play out for an entire summer. He had other options. He went all in on Ayuk and it backfired. I do believe he went after Jalen Waddle at the deadline. Mm-hmm. And I would believe a new GM would back out of that trade because he's so young as a receiver. Why would you give up on him at this point? Even if you get a first-round pick, there's no guarantee they could replace him with that first-round pick. He's a talented player. I think first round would have been overpaying for him personally, but
I don't think they back out of the trade if it's a first rounder. I think Omar said, "I'll give you 2." He may have even thrown in a 5th. But I think that's why they ultimately got cold feet.
Yeah. All right, Bob. Well, you weren't on here last night, so for the Steelers Sanctuary podcast, you want to give your thoughts on the Chargers game?
Look, and I think it boils down to one thing. I as much as I want to criticize Tomlin, I said it in our chat, I don't think we were out-coached. I don't think Jim Harbaugh is a good enough coach to out-coach us. But I just feel like every player, virtually across the board, we just got our ass whooped. We rely on Jimmys and Joes, not X's and O's, and our Jimmys and Joes were not very good. The defense played a half. And if the offense had just played what they had normally played for the entire season, we'd probably win that game by 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers looked like he was 41 years old. He played a bad game. There's no sugarcoating it. I'm not giving up on him because he had one bad game at 41 years old. It sucks. It was at the wrong time. He's got a get-right game staring him dead in the face because it looks like Trey Hendrickson is out. And he's playing a Bengals defense that gave up 39 points to the Jets. So I think he'll get right back on track. I mean, I kind of went through the whole rest of the season. I think we beat the Bengals. I think we beat the Bears. We're 7-4. Baltimore's probably 7-5. Then it gets interesting. I think there's a chance we beat the Bills. I don't think the Bills, as good as they looked against Kansas City, they looked awful against Miami.
Yeah.
So the only guaranteed loss I see on the schedule is I don't think we can beat the Lions in Detroit. I don't know that we can beat the Lions in Pittsburgh, but I definitely don't think we're going to beat them in Detroit on the fast track with Gibbs and those other guys. And then, frankly, if we can just split with the Ravens, then we're 10 and probably 11-6 ish. We win the division. Probably the only team that makes it from the AFC North and wins it. Personally, I think we can go 10-7 and still win the division as long as we beat the Ravens at the right time. And I'm sorry, but if you've watched the Minnesota and Miami games, spare me the Baltimore is coming bullshit. They got very, very fucking lucky. That Miami should have beat them. Minnesota, if JJ McCarthy was even remotely competent, would have been up 17-3.
Yeah.
And they would have folded like a cheap suit. They got Cleveland this week. Cleveland usually plays one tough game against Baltimore. If all of a sudden the Browns beat Baltimore and we beat and we beat the Bengals, hey, we back to a 2-game lead, and I don't think our schedule is as bad as everybody thinks it is. I don't love the Bills. I don't love the Ravens game or the Lions game. The Ravens are the Ravens. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Although I am worried that the report is Joe Burrow might be ready to play as soon as next week.
Yeah, that one's going to get interesting.
We lose this game, I would be inclined to think the Bengals have the best chance at the division if it's true that Burrow's back. We get swept by the Bengals.
Defense is historically bad, which is insane.
Yeah, but
without their quarterback who's been there, not even half the season.
Yeah, and somehow, if they beat us, I think, what are they, 1 game back or maybe
they're
even tied?
Yeah, they're right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but Burrow in that offense against the Ravens defense, it might be 63-60, but I would pick them.
I think we do have an Aaron Rodgers problem to some degree. So we all voted him on the Steelers Sanctuary podcast as our midseason MVP. I think we clean sweep that offense pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
His time to throw is really starting to scare me because the offensive line has played better throughout the season. Roger Jones still is not good, but they have played better as a unit. He has had a lot more time to throw than he allows for. Mm-hmm. He's going one read, and then he's checked down, whoever the check down is. He's not even reading through the other progressions, which scares me because if you're a Hall of Fame quarterback, you know how important that is, and I don't understand why. I feel like he's seeing ghosts, and I pointed out the Khalil Mack safety in that game. He saw Mack come off the edge, and he thought there was another guy coming off the other edge, and there wasn't. He stepped into the safety, and actually, Falatonu had recovered after what it looked like he was being beat initially. Aaron is seeing ghosts right now that just aren't there from pass rushers. And that worries me. And the fact that I know we're all talking about the receivers aren't getting open, and that is absolutely legitimate. But there's almost a lot of times where they're not even through their route yet, where they're even coming out of their breaks, and he just has already gotten rid of the ball. So you can't totally blame the receivers either. I feel like it's a two-way street right now because DK Metcalf, I went through the all-22, and there were times where Derwin James literally stood over top of DK Metcalf as the safety help. Uh-huh. Just didn't even fucking care about anybody else on the field. The Chargers basically said, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, any one of you guys are free to catch the ball and go anywhere you want with it. Because we're not even going to have a safety in the middle of the field to fucking stop you. Derwin James is standing clear on one side of the field just looking at DK Metcalf, and no one won.
Which is why I think that having a guy he has confidence in, not that Scantling is a great receiver. He's not. He's not. He's not very good. But Rodgers will have confidence in him. The confidence he doesn't have in Wilson, the confidence he doesn't have in Austin. And hey, by the way, look, Mighty Mouse, love him. He'll be a nice story to tell. Get this guy off the field. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. I get it. But this is 2 interceptions he's cost us.
That was
I
a
don't think
horrible
it
game
cost
for
us.
him.
I don't think he cost us the game. We weren't winning that game anyway. But that was the nail in the coffin with the ball off his hands. And remember, against Seattle, if he doesn't tip that ball and we catch that touchdown, I still think we win the game. And I don't think Caleb is banished like he's banished right now. So look, we got what we got. There's nobody out there. You got Scantling on the roster. Put him in there. Aaron trusts him. And if all of a sudden the passing game changes a little bit, maybe he's willing to hold the ball a little bit more. Maybe he runs the route, that he thinks DK is supposed to run. And I'm just going to tell you this about DK. Yeah, they're standing over the top of him. And I said this last week. DK's not a number 1. He's the best number 2 wide receiver in the league. We're paying him like a number 1, but he's not a number 1. We need a number 1. The goal is not to get a second receiver. The goal is to get a first receiver and make us elite.
Yeah, we're kind of stuck with that right now. I do wonder if MVS is every bit of his listed height and weight.
Mm-hmm.
He is a whole different body type than what we've had here. I think that's going to be really important because Calvin Austin is not playing well as an X receiver right now. He's just not. Like he's not, or the Z receiver. He's just not playing that well on the outside at all. So, like MVS is going to have to take the top off of defense to start getting the safeties back to the middle of the field to give DK some room to work, first of all. Because I do think DK is a better route runner than what he was labeled as in Seattle. I think he's a better route runner than people give him credit for. This little slant, these quick slant things, and these crossers that Aaron's trying to do with him at times, and we don't do them frequently enough, they work, and they're hitting at a high rate. So you got to get the second guy off of DK Metcalf. And MVS, I hope he's got some juice left in the tank, but that's your only answer right now. I want to ask you this because I'm so fucking tired of hearing this bullshit. The whole Roman Wilson being in Tomlin's doghouse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, sure, Roman Wilson hasn't done a lot, but I'm going to tell everybody something right now because I've been saying this for weeks. The kid's fucking open. He might be the only guy on the team getting open, and we're not getting him the ball. Why the fuck is he the one in the doghouse? We had guys like Deontay Johnson just doing absolute bullshit that should get you thrown off of team, and we gave him chance after chance. George Pickens did everything humanly fucking possible to get thrown off the team, and then we basically gave him away for a third-round pick. Never in the doghouse. But Roman Wilson, because he's not a first-round pick, he's 5'10", 5'11", whatever he is, and 185 pounds, which I'm not entirely certain he's 185 pounds, but that's what he's listed at. Why is this fucking guy in Tomlin's doghouse, but no one else seems to be? Like, what are we doing? He's the only guy getting open.
I don't understand. I've said the last couple of weeks, and I've been right with you. I think Roman Wilson should be on the field for better or for worse. If you throw him out there and kind of force him into it, I know look. If you watch the Rams game this weekend, and I did, they play more 13 personnel than anybody else in the league, even us. But it's a clinic. Those tight ends are weapons, and Pat can be at times a weapon. Darnell has proven, especially in the short passing game, he's a weapon. Jonnu Smith last year was a weapon. So when we're 13, why doesn't it look like that? I mean, I kind of know why it doesn't look like that because Sean McVay isn't drawing up our offense. But, it can be done. You can play 13 personnel like the Rams did with Devontae when Puka was out. Now he's back. We'll see a lot more 13 or 11 personnel. But that being said, it can be done. We can be creative. We could put Roman Wilson out there. Now, ultimately, I think what's going to happen is Scantling is going to get those opportunities that Roman Wilson has shown are there. And because Aaron's going to look for him. He's my guy. I know who he is. I know what he's going to do. Aaron's going to throw him the ball. So if
Yeah.
he does run those same routes as Roman Wilson, he's probably going to gain a lot of yards. And this whole, I see in chat where people talking about, oh, Aaron Rodgers, they figured him out like Wilson. Aaron Rodgers is not Roman Wilson. He's not a one-trick pony. Look, behind this offensive line, is he maybe turning into a little bit of one? Ben got us to the playoffs this last year, basically playing the same way, just throwing the ball and getting rid of it behind a bad offensive line. I think this is a good offensive line. So, wow, better than what it was in 21.
Yeah.
Maybe good's a strong word, but
Yeah.
that being said, let's see what happens. You know, if he comes out, he's going to have all day to throw against the Bengals like he did the last time. If he comes out and has a big game against the Bengals, the Bears defense isn't much better. They're better, but not much better. If he has a couple of good games and then rolls into Buffalo and all of a sudden he's feeling himself a little bit and he feels like he can stay in there a little more, then hey, maybe things turn around. I'm not giving up on Rodgers after one bad game. I'm just not, because all of you who think Mason Rudolph and Will Howard are the fucking answer, you know, that's the answer to how do we get a top 10 draft pick. That's not the answer to how do we get to the playoffs.
Yeah. This is never going to happen, but you know what I'd actually like to see, because of the way I feel like teams are playing DK Metcalf? I'd like to see Roman Wilson and MVS both as the outside receivers and run DK out of the slot and just see what the fuck teams do about it. Yeah. And I honestly, I would just send both guys deep on the outside and see where the safeties go. Because you got two guys. I mean, Roman's a legit 4.39, 4.36, whatever he ran in the combine. Mm-hmm. And MVS is a deep ball threat. He doesn't catch at a high rate, but he is a deep ball threat. They have to respect it. Mm-hmm. Is that going to open up DK underneath? Because the Johnny Smith thing, for whatever reason, if it's him, if it's coaching staff, I think it's both. It's not working. Yeah. I would let DK do the underneath work and let him actually start to eat against not top tier corners, not having cover two where both safeties are basically staring at him. Like, let him work underneath. And if he's out of the slot, he can split those two safeties. If you get some deep routes going with these three guys, this whole Arthur Smith, I see a lot of guys talk, I think it was Shower, maybe he brought it up, talking about the Arthur Smith short game. I'm not entirely sure this is the Arthur Smith short game, because we've seen earlier in the year where they were getting plays designed downfield, and Aaron was taking those shots that we've backed away from it. It's a combination, I think, of Broderick Jones is regressing a little bit the last few weeks. But at the same time, Aaron's dumping the ball off too quickly. I mean, he was at like 2.2 seconds to throw last game. That's absurd. You got to be willing to hold it a little longer than that, because guys can't get open.
And I think Herbert was even faster.
He probably was.
Yeah, they were talking about during the last three losses, the average time to throw for the quarterbacks we're facing is between 2.25 and 2.4 seconds. And bear in mind, Herbert is a guy who normally holds the ball. So somebody told him going into that game, if you hold it more than 2.5 seconds, you're going to get your ass beat. And they did a good job. It was a good adjustment on their part. I think.
Still had 5 sacks.
Yeah.
Against them too. Yeah.
That's the crazy part, is you held the ball an average of that and still gave up all those sacks.
Yeah.
Although, that is one thing I will blame the coaching staff on. And look, Highsmith has played pretty good the last 2 weeks, but not playing Nick Herbig should be fireable, especially against the Chargers. He destroyed the Chargers almost single-handedly last year in Pittsburgh. Why the fuck isn't that guy on the field on every pass play? I mean, never mind the run plays. Okay, fine. You want to play Alex first and second down? Every third down, Nick Herbig should be in. Every third down.
Yeah, for sure. I think the last guy I want to talk about on the offense, because obviously the offense was the biggest issue on this one. Why in the world does Jaylen Warren continue to get out-snapped by Kenneth Gainwell every goddamn week? And he had 5 yards of carry in this game. This was not like he was not having a good game. It's not like he wasn't moving the ball. Even in the screen game, he was doing, some really nice work. Like, why in the world do we keep allowing Jaylen Warren to be out-snapped by Kenneth Gainwell week in and week out? Because I cannot figure that one out for the life of me.
Well, if you believe Mike Tomlin, it's because we couldn't convert third downs. And I thought it was very interesting that somebody pointed out, does that mean you can't play him on third down? And the answer was, shut the fuck up. I mean, he didn't use those words, although he might as well have.
Yeah.
Look, if you don't think Jalen Warren's the best player on offense at this point, all due respect to Aaron being the MVP, he's the most important player. But Jalen Warren is the best weapon on the team. And why we do not just give him the guy runs with reckless abandon. Even when he only gets a yard, he delivers a lick to where, you wouldn't want to be tackling that guy in the fourth quarter. But you're not getting, I don't understand. I don't get it. Warren was our third down back the last 2 years. Why can't he get on the field on third down? Kenneth Gainwell took every third down snap, every single one.
It's not making sense to me the way his utilization is, because we pay him like a starting running back in the league. We don't treat him like a starting running back in the league. We are giving him essentially the same workload that we did last year, except we're taking him out of the role that he was best at, which was his third down ability, because he's a better blocker than Gainwell. And he's made a lot happen in the pass game at times too. Like I just don't get it, because the Green Bay game, we essentially lost the Green Bay game because we quit running the ball with him, and he was having a great game. And then we go again.
Lost the Cincinnati game too. I didn't mean to cut you off because we didn't run the football.
Yep. And then we got this game here where, again, he's having a nice game, and we just continue to let Gainwell outsnap him. That's the most confusing thing. Out of all the things we've done wrong this season, his usage is the most confusing out of anything that I've seen.
At this point, he has his lowest yards per carry that he's ever had in his career. He's at 4.2, still better than Najee Harris. But bottom line is because he is carrying the ball a little bit more, and their defenses are geared up to stop him. But it's still a decent average. He's averaging more yards per catch than he ever has in his career. So why would he not be the guy on third down? Look, I know Gainwell's a good back. I like him. He's a nice player. I'd like to see him get 10, 15 snaps a game. I would like to see Jalen Warren get 40. Could we keep the guy on the field? Look, if he doesn't hold up, he doesn't hold up. So what? Then look, if he doesn't hold up and become our whole running game, at this point, it doesn't matter anyway because the season's cooked.
Yeah,
he's got to be the guy, and he is the guy. Look, that Chargers defense. Are they a great defense without some of the guys they're missing? No, but they're a really good defense, and we were able to run the ball on them. Jalen was not the problem.
Yeah, I agree. And in a time where, let's be honest, this offense was pretty putrid last week here against the Chargers. You had one guy making plays. Why did you take the one playmaker out of the equation? That to me is another Tomlin thing. I don't know. Maybe it's an Arthur Smith thing. I don't know who the hell is deciding this personnel grouping on the field. It feels like a Tomlin thing.
Look, just playing with what we got for a second. DK Metcalf is commanding a corner and a safety at all times. So have DK run out the corner and the safety and put Jalen one-on-one against a linebacker in space. Throw a little dump off. Aaron likes to check it down. He'll love this. Check it down to Jalen Warren one-on-one against a linebacker or maybe a safety or maybe the nickel corner and live or die with that. And as soon as they adjust and start keeping the corner, maybe in a cover two where they're covering the flat and not setting them with the safety, then you beat their brains in throwing the ball to DK.
Mm-hmm.
Look, if they are going to do that, you have got to do something to take advantage of it. Either that or, flare him out, make them come up and just run a nice little crosser, with whatever fucking short receiver we got running across the middle. It should be wide open. It's not rocket science. We've all played Madden. We know if the guy runs it off, the check down's open. And if the guy doesn't, and if they play the check down, the guy deep is open. It's not hard.
All right, I'm going to switch gears to the defense. We've talked pretty extensively about the offense. So we've already kind of touched on Ramsey's move to safety. This seems to be more of a permanent fixture, but I'm going to make you happy, Bob. I'm going to make you really freaking happy because this is a guy you've been talking about the whole season. There are some young guys that are improving. Now, we know all the young guys on defense are pretty much on the defensive line there. They're not in the secondary. We know that for a fact. But your boy is coming on. He's finally looks like he's putting it together. How you feeling about Y.A. Black the last few weeks?
Really, I still don't think they're using him enough. And look, Keanu Benton is playing monumentally better, which I'm happy to see because I am a Keanu Benton fan. I called for him 2 years ago. I thought he was the best lineman we had, even over Cam Hayward, which may have been wrong. But I wanted him on the field. But he really regressed the second half of last year, and the first 4 games of this year, they were bad. Look, that's our nose tackle. Stop fucking around. Put him on the field. I'm telling you right now, if we went to a 4-3, and I know, we played 3-4. We didn't always play 3-4. If we went to a 4-3, and you had YA with the guard in the center, and then you put Benton inside on the other side, and then you had Harmon and Hayward on the ends. I know it takes a little bit away from TJ in the passing game, but bottom line is, if you had those 4 getting a push, number one, nobody could run the ball. Number 2 is now when you send TJ, he is the 5th guy. You have to block him one-on-one. Maybe all of a sudden TJ starts eating again. And, okay, I don't know what we do with Herbig and all that. And it's kind of antithetical to what we're doing. But, would it hurt to try it again? You don't even have to permanently convert, but just teams wouldn't know what to do. Because those 4 guys would push up the middle, TJ coming off the edge, or, God forbid, Herbig off the edge. Sit Herbig. Maybe when you sit TJ down for rest, just try this and see what happens if you send those 4 plus Herbig 5 and then drop the other 6 into coverage. I bet you we'd get a lot more fucking pressure that way. But, yeah, I said it earlier in the season, although Cam has maybe eaten my words a little bit. So I would have played YA, Harmon, and rotate Cam and Benton for the whole season. I'd have them out there now. I mean, let's get the young guys on the field. And look, if it becomes apparent we're not going to the Super Bowl, Cam's got a year at best left. He can't keep doing this.
He keeps passing the father time test, I should say. So I don't know. We'll see how long he keeps going. But I'll tell you what, your boy developed a pass rush move for the first time all season. Normally, he just tries to straight power his way in. I pointed this out yesterday. He used this push-pull move where he just got his hands up inside the chest of the guard. And as soon as the guard tried to chop, he ripped the guard straight face down in the dirt. There's nothing the guard could even do about it because he finally used that length and his leverage and that power that he has there. And
I think that guard,
he needs to keep going with him.
I think that guard you're talking about, by the way, is a little guy that the Philadelphia Eagles turned into a guard who was pretty good last year, Mekhi Becton.
Yeah. I couldn't remember which guy it was because I was watching that briefly, but I saw him run that move and I said, oh, damn. Black might have a little bit of a pass rush he's trying to develop there, and it fits his power game anyway. But I tell you what, he's starting to really learn how to also play leverage in the run game. He's eating double teams. I talked earlier in the season. I know you were really high on him, and I talked earlier in the season. I felt like he was getting pushed around a little bit on the double teams. Man, he was anchoring down this game pretty hard against the Chargers, and in double team situations, he was still moving both guys to the ball carrier, which that is a true nose. That's something that we hadn't seen from Benton. And Benton definitely has come on, and I mean, he's got 4.5 sacks now. He had 2 sacks his whole career coming into this season. So he's clearly coming on. And I even said this, I think Y.A. Black is playing better right now than Derek Harmon, who's your first-round pick. Harmon's a couple games behind. He missed a few games to start the season. But I'm telling you what, I think we found something in the 5th round with YA Black.
I do not think they're playing Harmon enough either. And I get it. Benton is playing really well. It's hard to get him off the field. You got to get Harmon on the field. He does make it. He is a presence when he's out there. Has he played as good as what you would hope your first round pick is? No. But just like Black, he gets a little better, a little better, a little better. Next thing you know, come December, you got a monster on your hands. Benton is not going to crumble because he loses 5-6 snaps a game. And I want to see the young guys out there sometimes. Look, Cam, we should start thinking seriously about, look, as good as Cam is playing, can we get production if he comes off the field a little bit? Because if he gets hurt, then it is the young guys.
Yep.
Why not be intelligent and save Cam for, hey, look, if you're going to play him 90% of the snaps, Buffalo, Baltimore, Detroit, play him there. I don't need to see him play 90% of the snaps against Cincinnati. And if we do have to play him 90% of the snaps because it's a close game, then shame on us. I think we got something with these young guys. I really like where the future of the team is going on the defensive line. I don't like it much anywhere else, but
yeah, we don't have a lot of young guys anywhere else either, which is the problem. My thing is not any kind of an indictment against Derek Harmon either, because I think he's playing like a rookie right now. He's making some mistakes, but I mean, let's be honest. Keanu Benton didn't start improving until Harmon came back, so he is making an impact. It's pretty easy to see he's making an impact. So I don't want anybody to take that the wrong way and think that I'm like trying to bash him or anything like that. That is not a slight on him. It's more of an indictment on how well I feel like Black is playing than anything. He's just showing up pretty consistently.
And I've said this for a couple of years now. Mike Tomlin plays a soft ass nickel that is basically a hybrid Tampa 2, and he uses TJ and whoever as the other end with basically Cam and either Benton or whoever he puts in the game as the inside tackles. Just go to a straight 4-3. Just go to a straight 4-3. You don't have to play it every down. You can do Bill Belichick where you have both packages in your defense. And if you're going to play that Tampa 2, you need a 4-man push up front, and they can't be undersized. You can't let them put 2 people back there to chip TJ. You put 2 people back there and it's Harmon coming off the edge or YA Black. Good luck, because he can pick up both of those guys and throw them into the quarterback. Will we get the same pressure? Probably not. But the defense will be a hell of a lot better, and we might actually get pushed up the middle, which is what you need if you're going to play that stupid-ass Tampa 2.
Yeah. I was just checking. Your boy Black in the Chargers game, he had 24 snaps, which was not too far behind Nick Herbig. Herbig had 31. But then you got Benton at 45, Cam Hayward 54.
That's too
and
much.
Derek Harmon at 40. So I mean, you had basically Cam Hayward at 38 right? 38 years old, playing 74% of the snaps.
That's too much.
And he's playing fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But at some point, if you're getting this kind of play out of the other guys, you got to feel like you need to start taking wear and tear off Cam, because it's hard to say we're going to get hot and make a run, but the defense is getting better. They're not the problem the last couple of weeks. It's the offense that's kind of holding back right now. So, like, if you ever put it together and you accidentally make a run where we beat these teams that we should beat anyway, you're putting a lot of mileage on a 38-year-old defensive tackle. And I like the idea of bringing along YA based on what I saw. Derek Harmon's getting good snaps. Keanu Benton's getting good snaps, but you need that. You need that fourth guy to get heavier into the rotation. But I saw something else I wanted to talk to you about on film too, real quick. We started using that 3 outside linebacker look. And if you remember when I pointed out the Green Bay game when we did our war room and I talked about how they used Micah Parsons inside, they were lining Nick Herbig up in that same role. And he and TJ were running straight rushes out of that. They were running some stunt work out of that, which was getting really intriguing, and it was causing a lot of problems for that Chargers offensive line. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I saw TJ loop into the middle, and I almost fainted. I was like, oh, my God, he didn't just rush off the edge. He can actually do something else. Look, at this point, I would love the idea of either Cam or Benton or Black or Harmon. I don't care who it is, but do that same thing that that Green Bay did with Micah, where he lines up and just goes off the ass of the guy in front of him, and just, hey, look, if the double team goes left, I go right. If the double team goes right, I go left. Because
Yeah.
if you, especially if it's Cam, are you going to block Cam one-on-one? And if you are with the center, good luck with that. You know, you got to pick your poison. Then the guards either got to block TJ one-on-one, and the center's got to block Cam one-on-one, or we double team Cam and boom, TJ gets a free run at the quarterback. I like those odds.
You know, I mean, if you look back at Derek Harmon's Oregon tape and even his Michigan State tape, he rushed off the edge a lot in 4-3 situations. I don't know why they don't have him be the guy who essentially is the de facto. He takes out the tackle, tries to bring the guard along with him, and let TJ loop back inside off him. Because if he accidentally gets outside the tackle, he actually has enough mobility to go make a play in that situation too. So, like, if we want to try to back off of some of the blitzing that we've seen now that Ramsey's been moved to safety, we've seen a lot more too high safety, which we didn't see a lot in this game, to be honest with you. But, like, you know, we saw it in the first game. We thought we were going to see more of it. But if you're trying to manufacture some rush without the blitz, get more creative across the defensive line. I mean, that's the best way to do it.
I will say this for Shower's question. No, I don't think he's going to be just throwing again, because everything they've done the last couple games to gear up to stop the run, although they didn't do a great job of it against the Chargers with 5, I think they will gear up to stop the pass. That being said, I've said it, I'll say it again, the 8-yard out is wide open every single time. So you have got to get home in this game. And I think they will. I think they're going to bring serious heat on Flack. But look, if he has all day to throw, yes, it's going to be a 38-37 game. But I don't think they're going to let him stand there and throw in this game. And I also think what they didn't have last time is Jalen Ramsey standing in the middle going, hey, you know, that little, hey, he's open across the middle, ain't going to be it.
So here's going to be an interesting thing. So if Slay is out with this concussion, which is still
probably is
early in the week, but yeah, it's kind of looking that way.
I think it's going to be one of those.
Are they bringing
187%?
Are they bringing Asaunte Samuel up to play, or is it going to be Pierre? And where do we move Eccles? Because that's going to be the interesting thing. Because Samuel's actually he's been playing more slot than he has on the outside, even though he's long. But Eccles is probably a better outside corner than what he's been playing in the slots. It's almost like if you can make that work, it's been. But Pierre's actually been.
He's been
fine. Good. I hate to say it. I don't like Pierre at all. But so far, he's been okay. But I really don't want to see him on the field against this wide receiver tandem.
Well, I don't know if I want a guy coming off back surgery to, fusion surgery. His first assignment is, hey, you see that guy over there, Jamar Chase? Yeah, go cover him.
We're going to need you to hang on to him all game long.
Look, I think this is a Joey Porter make or break game. I really do, because I think they are going to play Ramsey at safety. I think I am really scared of what T. Higgins is going to do in this game. I don't think you can do the Joey Porter matchup with T. Higgins. And Brandon Eccles, you got him. I think you've got to have a better strategy in this game. You cannot play the Bengals man with the defense as it's currently constituted. You just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And then our other issue is, I mean, Kyle Duggar's been playing pretty well considering.
Yeah.
But he's not a good cover safety either. And so if we try to go with this cover one look that we went with last game against the Chargers, God help us all if he's the deep safety in that scenario, because it happened a couple times. I mean, we were bringing up Jalen Ramsey. I think he was on a Rondé Gadsden a couple of different times in one-on-one situations where we did run man, but This is going to get interesting. We're going to break this game down in detail later, but this one's going to get really interesting.
If I were the Steelers, I would have Joey follow Chase, and he may give up 12 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown, but that's better than 16. So, and if he gives up a couple of penalties, so what? I don't care. You know what?
Yeah.
Do I care that Chase caught the ball and ran for 20 yards, or do I care if he got 10 yards on a penalty? If he's targeted and they call it, so be it. And I would tell him, Joey, I don't care. If it's third down and one from the 1 yard line and they throw it to him 10 times, hold him 11. I mean, I don't care. I don't at this point. Is it ideal? No, but we got what we got. So let him go play physical on Slade. Maybe he gets him pissed off. Maybe you should just whisper to him, "Hey man, your defense said fuck you," and then let him go ballistic and get in his head.
Yeah.
We got no answer for T. Higgins in this game. That is the one thing I am really worried about. The good part is T. Higgins you need time to get him down the field. If we give them that time, we're fucked. If we don't give them the time, and I don't think we will, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think they need to just take the blitz packages off the menu altogether in this one, because we saw it did not work the first time. I wouldn't go try it again the second time. Like, honestly, if they're an 11 personnel, I'd almost maybe think about running dime and have your front guys try to win and get creative up front instead of fucking around with the blitz, because it just did not work last time. It was so atrocious.
We could play some old school football if they spread out like they do, and it's 5 linemen. Go 1-on-1 across the board. Put 5 guys up on a line, straight 1-on-1. Look, you guys got to win and get home. There's 5 of you. There's 5 of them. I don't think their 5 can block our 5, and just 1-on-1 push up the middle. You got to push up the middle. You want to get Flacco up the middle, not from the edges. That's nice. Maybe you get a sack fumble that way, but no. Have Cam line up over the center if you got to, and then have Black next to him and Harmon on the other side and Benton and all those, and just say, hey, you know what, Cam? Beat the hell out of the center. Black and Harmon got the guard and the tackle. They're gonna take care of them, and then TJ and Herbig off the edge. Get creative. You got to do something different if you're gonna mess with him. And yeah, could we? Look, the good part is if we rush 5 and we drop 6, the drives aren't going to last long. We're either going to get home and get 3 and outs, or they're going to score a touchdown. Yeah. Okay, so then we can hold the ball for 10 minutes.
They scored the touchdowns last game anyway, so what the hell's the difference? I mean,
exactly.
They were over 30 on us pretty easily, so.
They hung 30 on us last time. What are we going to lose?
What's the difference? You got to change something up. I mean, I think Shower's wanting you to go ahead and take the headset from Tomlin on this one. So, Bob, you're up.
I would if I could. I mean, you can run the offense. I'll run the defense, or vice versa.
Okay.
I know. Although honestly, I'd rather run the defense. So we'd be doing some interesting things. I'll tell you that. Nick Herbert would bet not play fucking 20 snaps, and maybe in the first quarter.
Mr. Tummy is wanting the special teams to get all the turnovers to just not allow the defense on the field. I'm game. I mean, if we can get Ben Skoranek to just create a turnover every time he's out there, let's just do this.
Look, 3 weeks ago, I was despondent about the defense. Now I'm just,
yeah.
But I do feel there was improvement on the defense ever since the switch with Ramsey. If we can keep that intact, and the corners can just be serviceable, I do feel. It could cross Cincinnati up a little bit too if we played a little zone, because they were expecting, but not the drop 10 yards off the field and watch Slay catch the ball zone. Let Joey press him. Let Joey press him and play a flat cover too. And if he beats us, he beats us. Who gives a? He caught 16 balls. How much worse can it be?
Right. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. It's definitely not worse. I definitely have some thoughts on this. We'll get to that once we get to some war room stuff in our show Friday for the Steelers Sanctuary show. So,
speaking of which, we're going to do a Sunday at 11, right? The war room.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So Sunday mornings before the game, we're gonna start doing a war room where Trent breaks down the tape, and I'll be there too to throw my 2 cents in. And yeah, you guys join us. It'll be a little Steelers, but it's Steelers sanctuary before the Steelers actually play.
yes, for sure. So you guys got. I don't have anything else today, by the way. Do you have anything else before we get to the programming notes?
No, not at all. Unfocused fantasy football tomorrow at 7. It should be a really good time. We had a really good week picking over unders this week. Legendary picks on Friday, maybe not as good, but
Oh, don't take my legendary picks. You can watch the War Room. Don't take my picks.
But yeah, otherwise, it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad to jump on and hang out with you since I couldn't be on last night. And really looking forward to previewing the Bengals game on Friday. I'll be interested to see if we know by Friday if Scantlin's getting a hat.
Yeah. Hopefully we have some information going into that. So, yeah. So Unfocused Fantasy. Listen, if you guys play fantasy, check out their show because I bailed on that show personally because I go through too much film to be doing another podcast. But it's a good show. You guys should check it out. So if you play fantasy football, they give a lot of over-unders and a lot of fun little. You guys do a number of different segments on there that are a good time, lightning rounds, things like that. So it's a good time.
Yep.
Join that tomorrow. Make sure you get your fantasy lineup set. Don't worry about those clowns from ESPN. Bob's got this thing covered.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, for those of you who do watch that podcast, Dave won his first game. He is no longer named the bye week. We can call him by his name now for the rest of the year.
God damn it, Colin. That's all Colin's fault. That's actually why now it makes sense. That is exactly why Colin was not on today. He did not want to take the beating of being the one guy who gives Dave his first win.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm gonna he's getting a phone call after this. All right.
All right. So we'll see everybody tomorrow night and Friday, and don't forget Sunday War Room before the game at 11:00.
Thanks for coming back on, Bob. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until later, we'll see you.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.